I've been in this space long enough to know that the most valuable thing I can offer is not opinions, it's actual data from actually running things. That's been my approach for a few years now, and it's the reason I don't cover something until I've spent enough real time with it to have something worth saying. Lately, the area I keep coming back to is mining infrastructure. Not because it's trending, but because the underlying technology has matured to a point where I think it deserves more serious attention than it gets. So I've been running it consistently for the past couple of weeks, and today I'm just going to open everything up and walk through it exactly as it happens. Then at the end, I want to get into how I personally approach security in this space, and why that conversation matters more now than it ever has. Alright, let's go. I'm pressing launch, and there's my dashboard. So this is the main control panel. Session configuration, live monitoring, everything I need is sitting right here.
Okay, so first thing I'm doing is selecting a token, and I want to pause on this for a second because I think it's one of the more thoughtful features here. The platform is built on a multi-chain core, which means I'm looking at 14 different assets to work with right out of the gate. That's real flexibility, not just a marketing bullet point. Okay, then I'm moving into the cluster configuration. Here, I'm calibrating the session intensity, how deep the resource commitment goes, and how hard the infrastructure pushes throughout the run. And the reason I'm deliberate about this, rather than just defaulting to maximum, is that these settings directly influence the covering at the end of the session, so there's actual reasoning that goes into how I configure this. All right, pressing start now, and okay, session is live. Console is running right in front of me, session progress, elapsed time, resource utilization, and live log feed. It gives me a real-time read on exactly how the system is performing while the session runs. So I'm going to let this run for a few minutes, and then I'll walk through the withdrawal process step by step. Okay, guys, all right, let's close out the session now. Okay, pop-up is on screen, session is done, and right here, it's showing me the exact token output from this run. So, to withdraw Ethereum, first thing I need to add my receiving address. Let me just handle that now. Okay, that's in. Next is the infrastructure cover. That's the platform's charge for the session, calculated from the configuration I had running and the total session duration. And this is something worth pointing out. I'm not limited to any specific token when it comes to covering this. I can use whatever makes the most sense. There's also a wallet connect option that handles the whole thing automatically in one step, but I'll do it manually just so the full process is visible and nothing happens off screen. Okay, everything is filled in, tapping confirm, and now it's processing. Should clear out in a few minutes. So while that's moving along, let me get into the part of this video that I think carries the most practical value. But before, I wanted to quickly cover what cloud mining actually is. So the concept is straightforward. Instead of purchasing physical mining hardware, running it, and absorbing the electricity and maintenance costs, I'm essentially accessing computing infrastructure that already exists inside a professional data center. I configure my session, the system does the heavy lifting on their end, and the mined output gets directed to me. No hardware, no setup overhead, and no ongoing costs on my side. And because the barrier to entry looks so low from the outside, this space has always attracted people trying to fake exactly that model. Fake ones are well put together on the surface, and they're not sitting somewhere obscure. And what keeps this a persistent problem rather than a solved one is that this industry just moves at a pace that never really lets up. Something is always launching, something else is always getting attention, and that constant momentum creates pressure where slowing down to scrutinize something carefully can start to feel like falling behind. So a few things that are part of my standard process now whenever I'm evaluating something new. I look at it as the platform itself, how it actually presents when I land on it. And I know that sounds surface level, but it's one of the most consistent early signals I've found. Fake projects almost always betray themselves in the design. Something about the page just doesn't hold up, like it was built to pass a glance rather than to actually function under real use. A platform built with real intent behind it just feels fundamentally different the moment you arrive on it, and the more time you spend looking at both sides of that line, the faster you start recognizing it. Another tip, I actually use the product. I navigate through it, I try things, I pay attention to how the interface responds when I'm genuinely interacting with it.
If it feels like nobody ever ran a proper user test before shipping, confusing flows, interactions that half work, navigation that doesn't follow any real logic, that's a direct reflection of how seriously the people behind it took what they were building. Okay, so to bring this home, over these past few weeks, I've run more than 25 sessions on this platform. I've worked through essentially the full asset list, paid close attention to every step of the process, and approached each session with the same level of scrutiny I bring to anything I'm evaluating professionally. And what I can tell you is that across all of that, every session ran cleanly, every withdrawal processed the way it was supposed to, and nothing at any point gave me cause to stop and question what I was looking at. Alright guys, thanks for watching, hope this was useful.